Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Good Bytes. I am Brad Waid, and as always, I'm joined by my wonderful co-host, Michelle Moore. Michelle, how are you doing this week?
Hi, everyone. I'm doing well. It's been a busy week, a crazy week, an exciting week, but we are all thriving and surviving. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's been a busy week as well. It's been nice. I've been lucky enough to get out of the house a little bit this week, so it's been a really nice week. Busy, and had a little bit of nice weather this week. It actually maybe tell a little bit. I'm a little pink. It hit 70. I mean, it's only like 51 today, but it hit 70 on Saturday, and it was absolutely incredible, gorgeous. We're thrilled up here in Michigan.
That's amazing. 70 degrees is probably like 85 to you guys.
Yes, it is. I mean, it was hot. I had to turn the air on. It was hot. So yeah. So it was beautiful. Got outside a lot. Went for a nice walk with my daughter, and just enjoyed the sunshine. So
That's awesome. Yeah, 70 down here, and I'm like, oh, do I need a jacket?
right, exactly. A little bit of different context. All right, Michelle, well, let's get started on our Good Bytes. First thing is, should we share some good news this week?
Yes, please. More good news in the world. Let's put some good news out there. What you got?
All right, so thank you. I'll start. So I want to share this story, and I'll put it up here. This is about a college student. Her name is Lillian Cogan, and she lives in Manhattan. And she's in quarantine like all of us are. We're at stay-at-home orders and stuff like that. And, we've seen a little bit of this online, but what she decided to do, she lives by herself. She decided to get some sticky notes, and she put hi up on her window one night before she went to bed. Just kind of curious. Well, to her delight, the next morning when she woke up, a few of her neighbors, now these are skyscrapers, a few of her neighbors across the way had responded. And so she started talking back, and she struck up an unlikely friendship with somebody across the way, and found out it was an elderly couple. They had been exchanging, messages back and forth. And when she found out they were elderly, she asked if they needed anything from the grocery store. They didn't. Well, she ended up making cookies for them and found out where they lived, left them outside on their porch. And it was neat that the story got out, and they interviewed the lady who was 84 years old. And I love her phrase. What she said is, so she struck up this conversation. When she was interviewed, she said, "This has been a sweet source of entertainment and friendship during the lockdown," which I thought was really nice. Think about this, Michelle. I saw this question phrased on social media this week, and it said, "Before Corona, we didn't." Now, I was thinking, what if we put a good spin on that? What if people answered this question? Before Corona, we didn't. And I'll give you the first one. We didn't have as many family dinners together. Right? So it's a good way to look at the silver lining, which we've been talking about each week. So I love this story. I found it online. I read it, and it's one of those stories that make you just feel real good. And in a weird way, we're getting close to our neighbors. I've done the same thing with one of my neighbors. Here actually. There's 4 or 5 of us that get out get outside, and we talk on our balconies and stuff like that. So I've been kind of doing the same thing during these interesting times.
Yeah, I think it's been interesting. I know a lot of people keep talking about silver linings, but I've really enjoyed seeing the way that people are connecting while they're apart, and just little quirky new ways of connecting, like that example that you just gave, are so neat and heartwarming, and kind of speaks to the human spirit of needing to feel connected to others. So I love it.
Absolutely. And so I saw in the show notes, I saw your good news. I think this one's really wonderful. I'd love to hear. Why don't you share with everybody who's with us your bit of good news this week?
Yeah, I actually updated it and changed it from what I originally put down, because this announcement came this morning. For a couple weeks now, people have been pleading with the Obamas to deliver graduation speeches, and they announced they will do that. So they're going to deliver different commencement speeches with a whole slew of special speakers and performances in partnership with YouTube, I believe. So they have Lady Gaga, Kerry Washington, Alicia Keys, Kelly Rowland. And even though it's not the same as having your in-person graduation and walking across the aisle, it's such a neat way for them to honor all the hard work of these graduating seniors. So I loved it. That's my good news of the day.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I had seen that, especially on Twitter. I'd seen people, saying it'd be a wonderful idea. They should think about it. And the power of social media and really the power of community, the power of the human spirit is what made this happen. I know you as well are a believer in putting good things out in the universe, and good things can happen. And this is a perfect example of that. We'll have the link below. And what a great piece of good news. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, I'm glad it came out in time for the show. That's going to be huge and something that everybody can partake in, not just people who are graduating. And I'm going to turn it now to something not so serious and meaningful and mushy, but still very newsworthy. It's something that made me laugh.
Yes. I always want to know what made you laugh, and I want to hear. I haven't had a time to dive in and check this out. I saw it, but I want to hear all about it. So what made you laugh this week, Michelle?
So Brad, what if I told you or asked you, what do Pulitzers and potty training have in common?
I don't know what they have in common.
I'll tell you. Joe Sonska, who is a journalist, won a Pulitzer, and he found out yesterday that his piece covering, the former Governor Matt Bevin's exit pardons won a Pulitzer, and on the same day, his daughter successfully went pee-pee in the potty.
Woo! You know what? That's great news. And I guarantee you, had he not be home in quarantine, that would have not have made the same news together, because that would not have been. Now he knows that this is something that is okay to share. We're all working from home, and that's a great thing. He was home for that milestone. How awesome is that? Two pieces of great news together.
I know, it was so cute. So he tweeted out and shared the picture of his daughter, really proud with a big smile on her face, and something to the effect of lots of accomplishments in this home today.
That is so awesome. So awesome. I love that story. That is a great piece of good news. Well, thank you for sharing. That's what made you laugh this week. Now, we're going to get to our Good Bytes segment. And in our Good Bytes segment, that's where you and I, Michelle, that's where we share something, a good resource for teachers, parents, educators, everybody at home. Now, let's see. Why don't you go first? Because I got an announcement with mine that I'll share when I'm done. So why don't you share what is your piece of Good Bytes this week that you can share with everybody at home?
So I'll share my Good Bytes, and I have to preface it a little bit with, I've been seeing lots of resources shared to do STEM learning activities at home. And I feel like all the activities I see for STEM at home fall into two categories. Either it's a lot of fun with maybe a little bit of STEM, but it's kind of like a stretch to connect it to STEM learning, or it's a lot of STEM learning and kind of a stretch to expect parents to help assist with it, right? So it's like these two ends of the spectrum. Have no fear, Discovery Education is here.
Yay, I love it. I love it.
So they have partnered with STEM Careers Coalition and created a resource for parents and guardians to really bring STEM into their homes. And the project ideas they have are amazing. They're really, really fun, and it's really, really good learning. So I'm just going to read like one of them real quick because I thought it was so important. If I can find it. There we go. It's about energy, and it's called What's Going On, and it's Watts, like WATTS, and it's really getting families to think about energy conservation and how much energy they're using in the home and how to calculate it and all the scientific stuff that you can do with that. So I thought that was pretty neat. It's a good balance of real STEM thinking skills without too much of a lift on the parents.
Well, I love that. And I'm so glad that you brought up that point, because we're seeing so much of this, like what is the expectation? What is reasonable? What can parents do at home? One of the things I've seen with my daughter's science coming home is they make a lot of assumptions about materials that we have at home that we can just grab and start using, like miniature marshmallows. I don't have those right now because I haven't started camping season yet. So I can't build with those. See? There you go. So I'm glad you brought that. And just like everything else, like just grab what you can, use whatever resources. Any activity you're doing with your kids is great. It's great. Think about this. There's so much good also coming from this, where kids are getting so much time with their parents. You know what I mean? Like they're actually getting to spend, activity time with them and checking in and stuff like this. So that's part of the reason that we want to share STEM and science resources, because we believe that they're good activities that kids and parents can do at home together.
Yeah. And I want to say there is such a thing as too much time.
Yes.
I'm okay taking a little break every once in a while.
Absolutely. That's true. And, like we're on 7 weeks, 8 weeks almost right now. So, but I know things are starting to, be eased up right now. So we're just all praying for, when everything opens up, everybody will stay healthy. We can get everything going. People can get back into different routines. But we've seen this on social media. I want people to think about what is something that changed that you'd like to keep now, something that was a benefit, something that you didn't think about that you'd like to keep. So is there anything in particular for you, Michelle, that has happened during this lockdown time at home that you discovered that I want to make this part of my life now?
That's so funny. I just posted that on Facebook a couple of days ago, is what routines have you developed that you're actually looking forward to keeping after this ends? And people posted some really interesting things, but I think something that I want to keep is my early morning runs. So I've been running really early, watching the sunrise, and also finding new places to run that aren't crowded and that I know I don't really have to worry about running around people. So that is a routine that I'm really looking forward to keeping. I always worked out in the morning, but it was more studio classes. I'm very, very excited for that piece to come back into my life, but I think I'm going to keep my mornings for my early morning jogs. What about you?
Wow. Well, I'll tell you this. Obviously, other than the time with my kids, it's really the quality walks that we're taking now. Like we've always had time together because we're obviously, very close. We play games, do a lot, but it's funny. We've actually been getting out and walking. I walk pretty much every day. I mean, on a rare occasion, I don't walk, but I go out and I walk, and my kids have been joining me, especially my older boys. And that's been really fascinating because, the conversations that we've been having, and you can hear so much more in nature because there's so much less travel and cars and traffic, and just the industrial buzz is just down. So it's really just kind of nice. So I'm hoping to keep that going because the quality time with the kids has just been, with the boys, have been really nice. So yeah, I'm going to try to keep that going.
That's awesome. Yeah, I have to agree with that as well. We've also been going on more meaningful walks, I'll say, or higher quality walks, which is nice.
Yes. All right. So, well, thank you for sharing your STEM resource. We will put that. You saw what it looked like a minute ago, but we'll have that in the community section for everybody. And I'll ask anybody who's watching this or sees this on social media, please share if you've got a STEM or a science resource that you would like us to share. Please put it out on social media. We will retweet it. And also, if you have a good resource, we'll put it up on the link on the website, and we'll give you credit for that because we want to build this community. So thank you for sharing that. Now I will share my bit of good bites. And this.
Wait, do we need a drum roll? Like, I feel like.
Yeah, here we go. So I have a friend. His name's Ed Barton, and he owns Curoscope. And Ed and I go way back. I mean, I remember when he was talking about the idea, and he was talking about getting a shirt, and then he had a shirt. And some of you out in educator land, this shirt, right?
Yes, it's an amazing shirt.
Right? It is. It's absolutely fantastic. If you're not familiar with it, when you scan this, what happens, Michelle?
It shows you all the, it's like AR. It's an AR shirt for the anatomy of your body.
That's right. It's so cool. So you put the shirt on, or you hold the shirt up and you scan it, and you can see inside the human body, and you can play with the different body systems. And it's awesome. So it's a very, very well-known image in the education world. But that's not it. Check this out. So I was talking with Ed a few weeks ago, and I saw these posters. So he sent me some, and I got them out. Have you seen these yet?
Well, I don't know what it is.
No. He now has these posters that he's got 3 posters, one of Mars, the Earth, and the Moon. And I'll tell you, Michelle, it is so cool. We'll put a link to the video in here. when you scan it with your phone, you can check all things on the surface. You can open it up, check out the inside. It's all augmented reality, and it's absolutely incredible. And you can see these online, and you can play with them. But guess what? Ready? So the 2 winners of the contest, I was talking to Ed on the phone the other day, and I said, hey, you know what? I said, I want to share everybody the posters that you have. I said, would you be willing to provide those as the prize for our winners? So our 2 winners are getting a set of the posters, and we'll make that announcement on social media at the end of this show. So congratulations. So contact myself and Michelle, and we'll make sure that you get a set of posters for you. So how about that? How cool is that?
Oh, I love it. You're speaking to the space nerd in me.
Right? I am too. I love it. It's so cool. Back in the day, I was involved in a solar system application, and now there's some wonderful ones out there. And now it's even bigger than life with these posters. So we'll put the information in the show notes. And also 2 lucky winners are going to get a set of posters. So that is my bit of good bites for today.
That's a big good bite. It's not just a little bite, it's a big good bite. I love it. Good bites.
That's a big good bite. Yeah. Awesome.
I love it. And how great that the contest for Google AR, the prize is actually an AR poster.
I know, it's perfect. And it was funny because I had been talking to Ed prior to all of that. And, obviously on the last show, it was an impromptu contest. And then I was already talking to Ed, and then I just said, hey, would you be interested? And so I thought it was, it's perfect. It was meant to be because the contest came out of nowhere. It's about augmented reality. The prize is augmented reality. So, hey, it just works. And it's space, which is space and science. So very cool.
I love it. Very serendipitous. I'm so excited for the winners of those posters. It's going to be really fun to see what they do with it.
Yes, it is. All right, so now we're going to move on to, as we start to wrap up, we've got a couple things left. Michelle, I want to know every week, what are you streaming this week?
So it was interesting writing my list down. I actually have not streamed anything since our last show, but I have a to-do list of what I'm going to stream, and I'm actually streaming it as soon as we finish right now. I know my friend was making fun of me because what I want to watch is only 30 minutes. And they're like, how do you not have 30 minutes to just sit and watch it? Just make yourself go do it. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I've never been so busy before. I have no idea. There's a really weird paradox in my life right now. But Parks and Rec fans came out with their special last Thursday. And my friend said it was the warm hug that America needed. And I thought that was so perfect. I am such a big fan of Parks and Rec and all the characters. I feel like I can relate to everyone on there, from Leslie to Ron to all of them. I feel like we have a little bit of each one inside of us. So that is what I'm going to stream as soon as we finish.
That's awesome. And it's ironic because my bit of good news, what I was considering sharing was when they did their show, the cast of Parks and Rec. Did you see they raised $3 million?
Oh, yeah. So the whole thing was a big fundraiser. Yes. Yep. Thank you. Yep. Thank you for reminding me of the important part.
No, we all need a warm hug. But it was just, I saw that, I read that article and thought that was great. I'm like, you know what? It's just, anybody who knows me, I'm always looking for the warmth in the human spirit and what we can do. And I saw that, and it was funny because that was almost what I was going to share on my good news. So it's really nice that you brought that up. So yeah, so Parks and Recs, check it out. If you haven't streamed it, please do. It's highly recommended. My kids love it. And I have to tell you, I haven't seen it yet, but it's going to be on my list.
Add it to your list.
All right. Okay.
What are you watching, Brad?
All right. So I didn't know I was going to share this, but I have to share this. Really? There you go. Live TV. What are you going to do? So I have been binging this, and it's really ridiculous. It's called Jane the Virgin. Have you ever heard of it?
Yes.
Oh my God. It's a telenovela. And if you don't know what that is, which I didn't know what that is, It's really, Kat? Like, seriously? Okay, so telenovela is basically a soap opera. It's basically, when you say it's like a Hispanic soap opera, kind of, are you familiar?
Latin. Yeah, it's a Latin.
Latin. Okay, so let me ask you, so did you grow up with them, or are you familiar with them?
Absolutely.
Okay, so give all of us who it's new, give us the little rundown on what a telenovela is.
I mean, it's no different than your soap operas and, your Days of Our Lives and General Hospital. It's just with people speaking Spanish or Portuguese.
I'll tell you, it is so funny because I grew up watching General Hospital with my mom, and I even watched it up through college, which was crazy. I remember when I moved into a new apartment, I didn't have cable for a while, so my mom mailed me a VHS tape with 8 hours of General Hospital, and that's what I watched. Yep. Crazy. Can't believe it. But anyway, so Jane the Virgin is basically a soap opera. And get this, there are 5 seasons, 100 episodes. I'm on like 64, 65. I just started less than a month ago. Seriously. It's not like a half hour. It's an hour. So it's 44 minutes or something like that.
I think it won some awards though when it came out. I remember it was a big deal. I think it was very well done. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. It's great. I mean, it's got all the plot twists and all the ridiculous storylines, but I'll tell you, the cast of actors are really good. And I got to tell you, if anybody's familiar with it, my favorite is Rogelio. And ironically, he's a telenovela actor in the show. He is larger than life. I'd love to meet him one day. His work is exceptional. When he comes on the screen, he just steals the stage. It's fantastic. So how much have you seen of Jane the Virgin?
I watched the first season, like 2 or 3 episodes when it first came out years ago. And, I'm really bad about sticking with shows. I don't make a lot of time for it.
Well, it took a pandemic and a stay-at-home order for me to find it. So no judgment here, but it's absolutely fantastic. If you have not heard of it, please check out Jane the Virgin. 100 episodes, 5 seasons, incredible plot twist. Good group of characters. I recommend it if it's your thing. If not, just don't judge me. It's totally cool. So Jane the Virgin on Netflix, 5 seasons. That is what I am binge watching, and it's ridiculously good.
It is really good. Like I said, I'm pretty sure it won some awards, and I think the actors probably won awards as well. I remember it was a big deal when it came out.
That's awesome. Yeah, because it came out, years ago. And I think it probably just finished a couple years ago. So I think it's maybe 2013 to 18 or something like that. But it's good. So check it out. All right. So as we wrap it up, we got 2 segments left. We got what's on your playlist and a shout out. So Michelle, what song are you listening to this week?
I struggled with this. I was like, I don't really know what I'm listening to, kind of similar to the TV thing. But I was about to give up on a run. I was towards the end and I was like, I'm done. I'm over it. And I run alone. So sometimes, it gets kind of lonely. But then this song comes on and it just like gave me that extra boost of energy. And I finished, at my regular time. And I was just so thankful for it. And I said, this is my song of the week. So it's Helium by Sia and David Guetta and Afrojack. If you listen to Titanium, it's the same person who sang Titanium, I believe. And it's just a really good lift me up song since it's called Helium.
That's no play on words there at all, but yes. No, it's a really good song. I'm familiar with it. And yes, it is. Sia does sing Titanium. So you are right there. Another good song. And it's nice. So that song carried you when you were just about done with your run, huh?
I was literally like about to stop and then it came on and it just out of nowhere, that extra boost of energy got released. Thank goodness.
That's awesome. I love that. And I'll share mine now. And I got a text from my son the other morning, who's house sitting at the moment. He texted me and says, "Hey Dad, have you heard this song?" He goes, "Just want to warn you, it's kind of emotional." I'm like, "Oh, great." Cause I totally get touched by songs. So it's from Alec Benjamin, who's a great singer. He's pretty new on the scene last year or two. But it's called 6 Feet Apart. And it's not like a parody. It's really not. I thought it was really going to be like just a silly song, probably, I like what we've seen, but it's really good. It's called 6 Feet Apart. And it's just talking about how hard it is that he loves somebody so much, and being 6 feet apart, although it's so nice to see them, it's so hard because he wants to hold and embrace and all that. So it's a really beautiful song. It's called 6 Feet Apart, by Alec Benjamin, and we will put the information up here. Well, you just saw it a second ago. So yeah, so Alec Benjamin, 6 Feet Apart. I recommend it, Michelle. You should check it out.
I love it. I will have to check it out. And let's move on to our next segment, Educator Shout Out. And this is a really special shout out. It's Teacher Appreciation Week. So
yay, it is. We put that in the notes. Teacher Appreciation Week celebration. Thank you to all the teachers who are working harder than ever. I know a lot of teachers who are, it's funny because you would think maybe it's not as hard to work, but most of the people I talk to, it's a lot harder and a lot more work. What about you?
Yeah, I would echo that sentiment. And I think Ellen DeGeneres tweeted out Happy Teacher Appreciation Year.
Yeah, right?
And I thought that was fitting because teachers have been putting in so much work. So yeah, my shout out goes to everyone who's been, really tuned in and committed to learning and growing so we can be better for our students. I think, teachers were asked to pivot in a way that has never been done before, and they totally stepped up and did what they needed to do to kick off e-learning, distance learning, with all the headaches and whatnot that came with it, but they responded to the call. I'm also going to shout out my son's teachers. And
yes, I wanted to make sure you did that.
Yeah. God bless them for putting up with me all year. But especially I want to shout out a very special teacher that is not my son's teacher, but has welcomed my son into that school from day one, and that's Kelsis Batista. She is a huge student advocate. She is so good about voicing equity concerns and issues and access concerns and making sure that every student is heard. So I really wanted to shout her out individually because to me, she is like the model teacher that we think of when we think of an American teacher. Like she just embodies it all and is such a great proponent for what learning should look like in the classroom.
I love that. Great shout out to all the teachers working overtime and helping all our students in this time of need. And also a very important part is assisting parents, putting parents' minds at ease, because this is a new role for parents as well. So thank you to all the teachers, all the educators, all the administrators out there. Thank you for taking care of our children, keeping them safe, and giving them some semblance of normalcy as we go through this time together. So thank you. Love that shout out, Michelle. I will share mine now. Mine goes out to Michael Drezick, M_Drez. You know Michael.
I love them.
Not only Michael, but their whole crew over there at Lakeshore School District in Western New York. I've worked over there. I've met Michael years and years and years and years ago, and I've ended up going over there and working with them in their district. So along with Michael, it's Deanne Polian, Jeff Connors. I went over there and worked with Mary Alice, Curran, everybody knows her. She's been working with that school district for 2 years, and I was lucky enough to go over there and just be one part of her bigger project that she was doing on digital citizenship. I went over there, was able to talk to them and work with seniors. I met every freshman in the district for one of their general classes where they were looking at what they're going to do in careers. And so I was a guest speaker. And then I worked with one of their senior classes on events and what they're going to do. And they put this evening event together where I shared Industry 4.0 with parents and staff and local community businesses. And it was great. So big shout out to Michael, Deanne, and Jeff, and we'll put their contact information in the show notes and up on the screen, and be sure to say hi to them and thank you for all of their service along with Mary Alice as well. So great shout outs this week. Michelle, anything in particular that you want to share? Is there anything that we forgot to share before we start to wrap up and say goodbye to everybody?
No, I just want to thank everyone for their comments and people who have been engaging and sending me messages and really just inspiring me to keep going. And I always tell people, like, I'm not an expert. I'm not an expert on what I'm talking about. I'm not an expert on what I'm sharing. I just want to share what I thought caught my attention and made me kind of pause throughout the week and reflect.
Well, I love that. And I love your piece on Educators Corner. I love how you write it up. It's so thoughtful and it's something to pause about and you reflect on it. Those are your words, which I love. And so everyone, be sure to connect with Michelle on social media. You can connect with me. Please say hi and let's keep this conversation going. Michelle, as always, thank you for joining me tonight. It's always a pleasure doing the show with you.
Thank you, everyone. I hope you have a great night. Make sure you go to bradwaid.com, check out Educators Corner and all the other great things that are on there for you to peruse through and grow with this week.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time. Be sure to chat with us on social media. Have a great night, everyone. Stay safe and stay connected.